What's going on, guys? I think we're fucking live right now. Adjusting my fucking hair like the vain piece of garbage that I am. Yeah, Jose, I gotta have that old TV fucking guide channel shit in there. It's like it's ever since I've ever streamed on this fucking channel, I've had it in there, and I haven't been doing a lot of streams because it was kind of one of those things where I was doing a lot of gaming streams. Then I wasn't sure if I wanted to do gaming on this channel at all, and now I was like, you know what? Let me go back to the regular kind of stream that I do some of the time because. You know, it's a lot of the times I'll get like these little topics that pop up that I don't know that I can make a full video about it, but I feel like it's something that like people like should at least talk about. Oh, what up, Dutch Chairman? And I've discovered if you tweet about Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor at all on Twitter, you're going to get a bunch of spam follows because I guess that's like how it works. I'm sure we're going to have spam bots showing up in the chat for this right now too, because that seems to be what it goes. You know, it's funny, when I was looking for the streaming bumper I was going to use for this, I was looking up like a bunch of old cable things. I found, do you remember back in the day when you would order pay-per-views on Time Warner, or I'm sure like everything was like that, you would have to call up Time Warner, and then you would be like in this like waiting lobby for the movie to start. I remember I watched fucking Mortal Kombat like that. I think like The Fifth Element or something, some shit like that. It was so fucked up and ass backwards, but it makes you feel nostalgic to think about it now, as stupid as it is. Oh my god, yeah, yo, fucking Amy Schumer. All right, so like, and I kind of feel bad, like. Amy Schumer is a popular target, and I feel like I've interacted with her briefly, and she was really, not really nice, but, you know, she seemed like a nice enough person. I feel bad to shit on her at all, but, dude. I mean, alright, there's, like, something misleading about the topic, too, where, basically, if you don't know about it, Amy Schumer, it was said that when, she had seen that Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock had gotten more money than her for their Netflix special, so she asked for, as a lot of the sites that reported it, they made it sound like she was asking for the exact same money that Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock got, which, I'm sorry, you're not fucking worth that. You're not fucking worth what they are. Like, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock are fucking legends. And, alright, Amy Schumer, I don't find her that funny. Obviously, a good majority of the internet does not find her that funny. Netflix had to change their whole fucking review system because of people not finding her that funny, but at the end of the day, she does make some money. I have enjoyed her appearances on Comedy Central roasts, but at the end of the day, it's about what money you're making, how much value you're producing. Now, that being said, if she was able to go to Netflix and say, I see you're paying these guys more, so I want more money, it'd be kind of stupid of her to not try to get more money, because at the end of the day, it's fucking business. It's business. Like, you know, if you can make more money in anything in life, regardless of, you know, you're just at your regular, like, whatever job you have, if you have some creative thing, if you're a stand-up, if you're a musician, if you can negotiate and get more money, you absolutely should fucking do that, and if anyone says you shouldn't do that, fuck off. But that being said, if it is in fact true that Amy Schumer thinks she's entitled to the same money as Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, fuck no. And it's one of those things too, people try to make it a gender wage gap issue, and that's like not what it is a lot of the time. Even with I remember the Wonder Woman thing, there was an issue with that, and any subsequent Wonder Woman movie, because I believe that movie was a huge success both critically and commercially. I forgot her fucking name. I didn't watch that movie because I honestly have no interest in watching superhero movies where the heroes are too fucking super. Like, I've never gotten into Superman. And honestly, like, I've had people explain to me that, you know, Superman isn't really about this guy that's just, like, so powerful. It's about this guy, like, trying to blend in and be a person and the struggles that come with that. Yeah, Gal Gadot, that's the one. Any subsequent Wonder Woman movie, she's going to be making significantly more money, because that's just how it goes. Like, now this is a proven, profitable franchise, so that it's money at the end of the day. It's fucking money. You know, with the same token, people complain that, oh, well, you know, there's not enough female leads and stuff. You know what? If it was true that you could just get away with making more money and paying women less in those situations, then we would have nothing but female-fronted movies. Psycho Bean, DC is trash. To be honest, I never really got that much into DC comics. When I was growing up, I was always a Marvel guy, and now when I read comics, almost everything I read is on Image, which honestly I've fallen behind with a lot of that too. Saga, The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead was getting really fucking good, actually. I don't know why I didn't follow up on those. Actually, like, I don't know if this is gonna be spoilers for people. I don't really think so, but I mean, maybe if you watch the TV show and not read the comics, it might be kind of spoiler. But I feel like Negan has kind of become like the Vegeta of The Walking Dead. Like, he's like the other side of the Goku coin. He is the Vegeta to Rick's Goku. And he's becomes, in my opinion, so much more popular than the main dude that now he's kind of gonna be forced to fight alongside this guy. And I think there actually was like a Negan standalone, or there's going to be a Negan standalone comic too, which honestly, I have so much more interest in that than a fucking the main Walking Dead at this point. But yeah, what else we got here? Mayweather versus McGregor. Now, alright, if you know me, you know that I'm as casual as... I don't watch boxing at all. I've tried to give boxing a lot of chances, but every time I've seen it, besides like knockout compilations, I've been pretty bored by it. Like, I don't watch these kinds of things for the sport aspect of it. I'm not really a sports guy, but I love to see people beat the shit out of each other. Now, MMA I can get into. I was obviously, because knowing that I just described it in that way, I was way more into UFC when it was brand new and like there were not really any rules, and the only rule that I felt that made it more watchable was when they made these guys start wearing gloves, so they stopped breaking their fucking hands. Because if you watched UFC from the beginning, it had this tournament structure where it was basically like just like a I don't know there's a fucking name for this kind of tournament, I forgot it, but it's basically you fight the preliminaries. It's like the King of the Ring kind of structure, where you fight, whoever wins goes to fight whoever won the next match, and it leads up to the finals. And what would happen a lot was a dude would break their hand in an earlier match, giving somebody a bye. Because really, like, in that kind of shit, the gloves aren't really about protecting somebody's head. They're about keeping you from breaking your fucking hands. But I can still, like, get into the UFC every once in a while. Like, the peak of me being super into UFC, like, I was all aboard the Lyoto Machida train. Like, it was so entertaining to me at that point. And every once in a while, still tune in and see something that I enjoy. But I think what killed MMA for me for a bit was George St. Pierre. Because to me, he was just so fucking boring to watch. He was a dude that, to me, was, like, fighting for points. And I think that's kind of the part of the problem that I have with boxing, too. It's like, I don't like... If I'm watching guys fight, I want to watch them fight with the goal of fucking hurting their opponent, of beating the shit out, knocking the fuck out, or making their opponent tap. I don't want to see guys playing this like a fucking ball game. I want to see a fucking fight. I would rather watch fucking World Star Hip Hop than a couple of guys who are just, trying to score points on each other. And to me, GSP was that guy, and he was the guy, and I felt like there were a lot of guys like that around the time when I started losing my interest in MMA. But now, obviously, we got Mayweather versus McGregor. Like, that's a big fucking deal. Like, pretty much the top MMA guy versus the top boxing guy. And I do not believe that McGregor has a snowball's chance in fucking hell of winning this. Also, what up, Derek? What up, Chloe? Thank you for joining me. I really do not think that McGregor has a snowball's chance in hell. This is as a casual. This is just, it's like, to me, it's just a common sense thing. You have Mayweather, who, like, he's ostensibly, like, the best boxer. He's undefeated. And all his time spent training, he's training how to be a better boxer. McGregor is training, or, like, at least in his lifetime, he's spent time learning kicks. During that time, Mayweather's been boxing. He's learning grappling. Mayweather's boxing. So, how can you expect, no matter how fucking good you are, to go into someone else's specialty and beat them at something that they not only have they been training for their whole fucking life, but they're the best at it. Like, it just, obviously anything can fucking happen, for, like, Mayweather could fucking spontaneously combust when the bell rings, and there, McGregor wins. But, I don't think it's very likely. And I've seen a lot of videos where people are like, no, McGregor has a chance, and here's why. Oh, what up, Mr. Shadow? Things are coming. People will have, like, ways. A lot of it's just clickbait. Here's how McGregor can win. Let me see. Let me see this fucking explanation. But, I don't think there's a lot of real chance. I saw one yesterday. I posted it on some of you guys know our friend Tubby, who I'm going to be watching the game with tomorrow. I'm watching the fight with tomorrow. I posted on his wall because, he's a big boxing guy. I just kind of, like, posted that to fucking annoy him. But there's a channel I watch, Charisma on Command. It's a great fucking channel. So many amazing psychological breakdowns of different celebrities and different fictional characters. His Game of Thrones series is fucking incredible. He breaks down, like, how different people work, why they succeed in different things. He had a really good one breaking down the charisma of Chris Evans versus Robert Downey Jr., like contrasting their personalities and how well that they mesh with the characters they portray. He had a great one on Ellen. He's done a lot of really good videos on Donald Trump, but his video on fucking McGregor versus Mayweather, it's I think it's entitled something like Why McGregor Can Knock Out Mayweather. It's so silly, guys. It's so fucking silly because his whole thesis was that basically McGregor can knock him out because he went into all these things. He pivoted into, like, the kinds of things he talks about, psychology and charisma, but I feel like the big main thesis was that McGregor has a chance because he has this way of visualizing outcomes and making them reality. Like, he can call, like, this guy's gonna do this one thing, and I'm going to exploit that to win the match. And it's like, alright, I'm sure that is a very helpful strategy, but there's limits to it. And I feel like he's one of those dudes now. Charlie, the guy who does Charisma on Command. As much as I respect that guy and love his content, he's kind of drinking that self-help Kool-Aid a little bit too much with that. Because there's this idea, especially, if you guys know the book The Secret, I fucking hate The Secret so much because it is the epitome of that kind of self-help magical thinking where, you can just visualize yourself achieving anything you think, you can manifest it into existence because the universe will make it so. Like, I feel like he's getting into too much of that territory, which I feel like a lot of you guys might know that from fucking stupid ass Ryback, he gave a promo about why The Secret changed his life, and it's like, dude, no. But yeah, you're right, Derek. Like, McGregor is winning because he's getting a fucking payday that he can sit on his fucking ass, and get blown on a fucking island drinking martinis somewhere. That's the real winner. Like, McGregor's, when he gets knocked out, people are gonna be like, oh yeah, you fucking loser, yeah, dudes who are, like, working at fucking McDonald's for minimum wage part-time, they're gonna be calling McGregor a loser, meanwhile he's laughing all the way to the fucking bank. So, that's gonna be entertaining to watch. But The Secret, man, The Secret is such a fucking scam. Like, obviously, it's good to be confident, it's good to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to take the kinds of risks in life that lead to you succeeding, but it's not magic. I can visualize myself knocking out fucking Mayweather. I could maybe even brainwash myself into thinking I have a chance at beating him, but you know what? Like, no, I'm not going to get into a ring and beat fucking Mayweather unless, like I said, the bell rings and he fucking, he explodes. He fucking has a heart attack, right? He has a really bad cramp, which even if he did have a really bad cramp, I don't know how good my chances are. But, there's definitely limits to that. And there's some people who don't believe there's limits to that. Like, I feel like I've spoken about this on the channel. The guy who wrote The Secret, if you remember, there was a really bad tsunami this one year, and it was one of those big tsunamis that killed a lot of people in Asia, and this dude literally fucking said that the reason why all these people in Asia died from a tsunami is because they didn't have their frequencies were off because they didn't have enough positive energy. Like, that is mental fucking illness at that point. That's beyond, giving people a better life. It's beyond thinking positively. You are sick in the fucking head if you truly believe this. But people eat that shit up, man. People eat that shit up. And I'm sure too that if the wrestling fan in me like almost wants to believe that there's going to be some kind of work involved in this McGregor Mayweather thing. Like, honestly, if McGregor wins this by some stroke of luck, I feel like there's going to be a lot of us who like think it's a fix. But then, you know what, if that happens, then there's a rematch to see, oh well, like, was this just a fluke or is McGregor really better? If Mayweather wins, like, Mayweather's the top dog, it's just like, we knew what was going to happen. Exactly, Chloe. That's a good way of putting on it. That people, they want to believe that there's no chaos in the world. Everything has a reason for happening. It's like this system that just flows and everything clicks into place nicely like a bunch of fucking Legos. And it's not. The world is chaotic. Shit happens for no fucking reason. Like anybody, like we could, this stream could end. I could walk out my front door and get hit by a fucking, a turd falling out of a fucking airplane. There you go. That's the end of it. That's the end. There's no, I guess I didn't think positively enough, fucking secret guy. The world is a douchebag. You're right, Mr. Shadow. Alright, so now what else we got? UFC, I guess a good pivot from this boxing match is steroids. I think it was John Jones who got popped for steroids again. And honestly, the whole discussion around steroids is something that I find kind of frustrating because I think a lot steroids, and I'm not saying that I've never done steroids. I think like if I could afford it, I had more research of the effects of it on like your liver and stuff, because that's a big concern, liver problems from steroids. But it's something I would be open to trying, honestly. Like if you really do the research, a lot of the hysteria around steroids, it's kind of a part of that war on drugs, like a lot of over-the-top, misleading propaganda. Like, I mean, steroids are out there. Like, you will, wrestlers, it's funny, dude. John Cena, there's no way in fucking hell that John Cena does not do some kind of steroids or HGH or whatever the hell. Like, first off, you gotta figure this guy, first off, he's just like a monster, which honestly, you can get big with that, but it's like he's pushing the boundary of what I think is achievable naturally. But it's not just that you're doing it naturally, it's that it's sustained over the course of the entire year with improper rest and like improper diet and like whatever workouts he's doing, he's also wrestling almost every single fucking day. That takes a toll. It prevents your body from recovering, because recovery is an important part. Like even professional bodybuilders, they do not look the way that they look on stage. They do not look that way year round. Some of these guys are complete fat fucks when they're in their building period. And we look at these wrestlers, and I'm not putting out accusations here, but you look at these dudes, John Cena, Jinder Mahal, Dolph Ziggler, Finn Balor, like they look the way that they look in suboptimal conditions year round. And, like maybe they are natural, maybe they're just that much of a fucking genetic freak, but I don't know. What do you think is more fucking likely? But that's performance. That's just aesthetics. It doesn't really matter. Like, I honestly think that steroids should be legal for guys like that to use. Guys like The Rock, who is obviously on fucking steroids. Actors, dude. Actors. You see a guy like any of these fucking dudes who magically just get into like amazing shape overnight. Like, they're definitely on something, but I don't think that should be as frowned upon as it is. I think, like, if you're using it properly, it's totally safe. But then when we're going into sports, like UFC, obviously you don't want to have a situation where people are, in order to compete, you have to be on steroids. So I see the merit of regulating it in that regard. And also, it's fucking hot in here, so I'm gonna turn on my AC. But there's merit to regulating steroids in sports, because you don't want a situation where, people don't really want to use steroids, but they have to, or they just can't fucking play. At the same time, though, now, you watch something like, any kind of sport, really, like, you're expecting to see, human beings at their absolute peak performance capacity. And the thing is, now, if you're totally natural, and you have the option of taking steroids, but you don't, you're not really at your fucking peak. You're not at what is the peak of, like, what is humanly possible through all the resources that we have as human beings. So honestly, and I at first like said this is kind of a joke, but no, I think it would be cool as shit if every professional sport had like a steroids division. Like, how much more entertaining would it be if like we just had like UFC just had a steroids division where like dudes were like openly fucking using, and we just had like these monstrous fucking freaks, fucking super mutants just beating each other to fucking death. Like, it's savagery, you know. And I know like a lot of people who come to like my channel, they were actually upset about my videos whenever I talk about violence or fighting. But you know, as much as in principle I don't support like specifically political violence, like if two guys want to fucking fight, I guess by chain rule I support all violence in a way. But then there's other sports too. Fucking I feel like baseball would be a million times more watchable if, I mean, I guess like these guys are on fucking steroids anyway, but you know, yeah, exactly, Mutant League, Derek. Like, Mutant League should be real fucking, that's fucking funny, Psycho, being that Chris Rock suggested the Steroid Olympics, because that's exactly what I'm talking about, and that would be awesome as fuck. Like, it sounds funny, but you know, like, a human being that is altered in some way, like, obviously, like, and there's also this myth about steroids where, like, you know, you take some steroids and you sit on your ass and you become fucking John Cena. That you gotta put in a lot of fucking work. Not only do you have to put in a lot of work, but they expand your capacity to do more work. So to get the most out of them, a guy on steroids has to work harder than any fucking natural athlete. And part of what makes steroids a little bit mentally addictive is that these guys will get on their steroid program, and they'll be used to working out that way. But you can't do that same program once you've switched to natural. So a lot of guys, they get addicted mentally to that process, and then they wind up being lifelong steroid users, and then that's when you run into fucking trouble. Like, all of a sudden now, like, you have an enlarged fucking heart and you die like Eddie Guerrero, or you go fucking crazy like Chris Benoit. But, you know, that's like what I'm talking about. Like, within reason, I think it should be allowed, and I think there should be some what am I talking about? I just saw fetish videos in the chat, and now I'm distracted with the female bodybuilders. Actually, you know what? It's funny, too, because, like, I'm kind of, like, not, like, necessarily, like, jacked, like, manly female bodybuilders, but I like when girls are, like, a little bit muscular. You know, like, a lot of girls, like, they want to be, like, these cardio bunnies who, like, they're basically, you want to be, like, just, like, kind of skinny fat, but I don't think women should be so afraid of becoming, a little bit muscular, you know, doing some resistance training, because that's how you wind up getting, like, a tight body. We got a little sidetrack, though. But yeah, people think Bobby Bizzle is not Friday the 13th. What the fuck? Yeah, I haven't played that in a long time now. But yeah, it's true. Like, people like also think they want to impose their own their idea of what's pure, or like how things should be versus the way they actually are. You know, like, people say like, oh, it's like not fair that a person takes steroids and, you know, can like look so good, and it's like, well, you have that, or at least if it were legal and like regulated and like more available, you would have that fucking option. There was like something else that made me think, oh yeah, it's kind of like, I think a lot of the problem with like steroids being banned in that kind of way, and like, you know, people lose sponsorships over admitting they're on steroids, it kind of perpetuates this myth that kind of, there's crossover with that self-help shit, that self-help fucking brainwashed cult that I was talking about, where like, oh, anything is achievable if you just, you know, put your mind to it and like really believe. There is a limit to how big you can just naturally get, how big, how ripped you can naturally get. But because there's this kind of, it's a shameful thing to be on steroids, you'll have dudes, and wrestlers are a great example of this, you'll have dudes who are like, they're so clearly on steroids, but like they can't admit it because they have, it'll be financially damaging to them to admit that they're using. So they lie, and they perpetuate this myth that a lot of people buy into. And I've gotten into this argument so many times on wrestling forums where people will be saying that, oh, like you're just the reason why you can't look like John Cena year round is because you're just like lazy. You don't work as hard as he does. And no natural person is going to do that year round. But it's just people have become so fucking brainwashed into this. Yeah, anything is achievable if you just try hard and believe in yourself. And magic is real. The universe will make you have anything you want in the fucking world. Anyone who uses steroids is fucking lazy. Like I said before, it's horseshit. And I want to see these monsters making fucking war with each other. Also, I realized in my title now that I typed Netlflix, so yeah, fuck me, no one's gonna find this video besides you guys. It's funny to me, I have no idea how streams kind of sort into YouTube's algorithm. Because I've noticed that some of the streams I have done, they've had like long shelf lives way after the actual stream, but some of them, they fucking don't. It's weird. Gorilla fighting, like actual fucking gorillas fighting each other. I used to watch bug fights fucking religiously too. But now that I'm talking about the streaming and the algorithm, I realized too that like something that's kind of held my channel back from growing a little bit is my resistance to collaborating with people. Like I feel like a lot of the most loyal fans that I got on my channel are the people that like I got from when I did my stream with Algirl and when I did my streams with Count Jacula. Like a lot of you guys I did get from Count Jacula. But I have been thinking about like doing, and I feel like I've mentioned this a lot of fucking times. Actually, Derek, Big Mosh Podcasting Network, that would be a good person to bring in for this. I do want to do like a Google Hangout kind of thing. I've been seeing like a lot of the YouTubers I watch, they will do like a big Google Hangout and everyone gets in there and everyone gets exposed to everyone else's audience. It kind of winds up being like a big live podcast, which I guess it kind of gives it a shelf life like that. So what I do want to do is do like a regular, like maybe like a weekly Google Hangout or something. That would be like, Derek would be a good person to do that. I used to do a podcast with him until I started doing the YouTube more heavily. Fuck, and I would love to pull our boy Tubby on that, who like we used to do the podcast with, but he kind of doesn't want to, like, understandably so, with people being so eager to dox people and ruin their fucking lives. And this dude has a wife and a family, or a girlfriend, and he has a family and a kid that he doesn't want to be bothered by saying things that upset people on the fucking internet, which it makes fucking sense. But there's definitely a lot of people I would like to bring on for a regular Google Hangout. It would be fun to do, and it would kind of be like a recurring podcast, because I feel like a lot of what I watch now, and I don't know if it's like shifting like that for everybody or me personally. Actually, it would be good to hear from you guys about like your actual viewing and listening behaviors, because I've been seeing a lot of people saying now that the trend is towards audio content, and I find that when I am consuming stuff on YouTube, I'll lean towards most of the day like people where I can I don't have to watch it. I can just kind of listen to them talk while I go about my other business. Like, a lot of old Opie and Anthony episodes, a lot of, like, podcasts in YouTube form. Like, I've been listening to Murder the Internet. I don't know if you've gotten, Murder the Internet. Oh, wait, Tranquil Blue, I've been following you since you filmed Asterios and War of the Fanboys. So the answer is to find and film more boxing grudge matches after 3 a.m. Yo, that would be so fucking sick. Dude. I fucking, originally when we were going to, go to, watch the fight tomorrow, some of our boys were talking about how, like, got into, like, a little, like, argument. They were gonna have, like, a sparring match at the thing. I was totally planning on streaming that fight to my channel, but it's not gonna happen. Like, it's one of those things where normally, like, you gotta fight with guys and it's like real beef, and they work out their problems. But I feel like they felt like this is one of those fights where like they're just gonna stay tight afterwards, so it's in everyone's best interest for it to just not happen. But yo, I love watching people fucking fight. There's actually this one Twitter account I subscribe to. I forgot what the fuck it is. It's like it's just real fight videos or something like that. And it's so fucking entertaining because there's something about watching untrained people fight that I mean, aside from the ones that wind up in like headlocks that go nowhere, or like we're just like pulling at each other. But if you watch two guys like really go at it who aren't trained fighters, that shit is. I will watch that over UFC any fucking day. Oh, Derek is challenging me to a fight at the fucking thing. Fuck, Derek is like 3 times my fucking size. Like, there's a reason why they have weight limits in MMA and boxing. Like, I have no shot against Derek. Unless he, you know, the bell hits and he explodes like I predicted Mayweather might spontaneously combust. Oh man, I went off on a tangent. I forgot what I was talking about now. Oh yeah, I wanted to get into like what people listen to, or whether they listen to content or they watch content more, because, you know, like, oh yeah, Murder the Internet was what I was getting to. Murder the Internet is a podcast. It's by Low Tax and some other dude. Low Tax being the guy who made somethingawful.com, which is like basically like one of the original funny internet sites. But you know, a lot of these guys who they went from like being internet writers to like visual or audio content creators, like their personalities don't translate as well. Low Tax, holy shit, dude, like that fucking podcast, it's basically like these guys will just riff on a topic like for however the fuck long. Like there's not really a set amount of time, but it's just jokes after jokes after jokes, just getting more and more absurd for the whole fucking time. And it's really like, it's one of the best new podcasts out right now, Murder the Internet. But yeah, what I'm saying is I tend now to gravitate more towards lengthy audio content than a short contained video. With the exception of like, there's some guys I watch where like you absolutely do need the visual component to appreciate what they're making. I feel like Chris Raygun is like that a little bit. What's the other guy? Bobby Burns. Like, Bobby Burns is fucking great because he's kind of taken that talk to the camera thing, but he's made it so much more, like his channel was originally a film criticism channel, and he's clearly like a big film guy, but now his commentary videos feel like a little short film. It's so good. Bobby Burns. Orbital SP, what up? Matt Taven. I'm not a big fan of... Alright, so Bobby Bizzle, like, what he's talking about, like, we went to, a Ring of Honor show, and it was, like, Ring of Honor versus New Japan, and I wound up, like, heckling Matt Taven the whole fucking match, because whatever the fuck it is about that wrestler, Matt Taven, I just find everything he does so inherently boring. Like, I look at his face, and I just, like, the feeling of boredom washes over my fucking body, and I've fallen behind with that wrestling. I mean, I've fallen behind with, like, Ring of Honor, whatever the hell Matt Taven's doing now. But I keep on hearing people tell me he's gotten so much better, but I'm just like, ugh. So it's kind of become a running joke with me and Bobby, real name Jimmy, my hatred of Matt Taven. Maybe I'll have to get Matt Taven on a fucking Google Hangout. Or I guess I'm going to call that podcast or / Google Hangout the Google Wangout, because, you know, puns. I used to have all kinds of puns on this fucking channel. Like, it was originally Let's Play with Whang, and like, you know, like you're jerking off. And that went to not be like that much of a fucking thing anymore. Oh man, I remember now I'm thinking back to like the origins of this channel. I tried so many different sign outs until I got to the everybody get fucked thing, which I don't always do anymore. I only really do that in like an angry video where I feel like it's merited. But I tried so many different versions of like name puns with Whang. I think one was like, oh, thank you for wanging out with me. But all those, it's one of those things where like, alright, take care, Derek, I'll see you tomorrow. It's necessary. And I feel like that's another thing where like I don't bring in as many subscribers as I should, because I don't really come with those call to actions like, please subscribe, please like, please comment. Like, sometimes if I'm talking about something where, you know, it would be interesting to have people's input, I'll ask you to comment, but it always... I feel like YouTube is kind of built on just, like, pure, raw authenticity, and when you go into those, like, talk show hosty kind of, like, oh, like, comment, subscribe, it adds this, like, layer of artifice that isn't really it kind of detracts from that vibe a little bit. But maybe it's something I should either get over or find a more creative way to address. Which actually now, like, that I've been thinking about, I've seen other creators do this, making, like, kind of like a video bumper to promote my Patreon and, like, that kind of shit. That kind of, like, it feels like it's not a part of the show, it's kind of like, just like a little, commercial that comes at the end of it, so it feels like this isn't really a part of the show, it's just something you might be interested into. So, like, I might actually start doing that for, like, marketing purposes, pushing the Patreon. I actually do, not that I think that many people will buy it, but I was thinking about making some kind of a shirt for this channel. Like, either... It's mainly just because I had some ideas for it that I wanted to have the fucking shirt myself. But I was looking for an artist who can do, like, some kind of, like, a painted thing. And if you remember those old metal album covers, like Death's covers, Megadeth's covers, Municipal Waste actually has covers like that style of art. I was looking for something like that to, like, make a shirt for the channel. I know, like, there's a lot of people who would buy it. Maybe if I did, like, a really small run of, like, 20 or something like that, it might be cool. Originally, actually, I don't know if all of you guys saw it. I posted it to Twitter and Facebook. I might have mentioned it in passing here. Let me find it, because I got left this hilarious fucking comment that I tried to turn into a Cafe Press or a Zazzle t-shirt just for, like, shits and giggles, but they wouldn't allow me to make the shirt because of content. But basically, it was, if you remember, I made a video a long time ago. It was this teacher who... He made, like, this, like, thing with his students where he would give them, like, their own special customized high five every morning, and he would have, like, a special, like, each student would have their own one. And then there was a thing where they were saying, oh, well, this white teacher culturally appropriated it, and he was kind of like, no, like, this is a good thing for the kids. I'm glad that my ideas are expanding. And the teacher had said that, like, actually she was doing it. Oh, I think other people said she was doing it first, or, like, it kind of came up in a vacuum of each other, which, you know, these things happen where people have similar ideas, but everything has to be this big offensive race thing, you know. And that video, it had, like, some people watched it when it came out, then it lied dormant for a while, and I guess it had to have been posted some fucking where, because, like, at some point I had an influx of people leaving comments on that old video calling me, like, a white supremacist, a racist. But my favorite comment of all of these was left by a woman named Peggy Rodriguez. And I was going to print the comment on a shirt, but I obviously I didn't want to do a screen printed run of these that would cost me money. I was just going to do it on a made-to-order site like Cafe Press or Zazzle. They didn't allow it, but the comment goes, Peggy Rodriguez, Justin Whang, you white cunt. You are so fucking retarded. So is your gay little cum-collecting mustache, balding, sloping forehead, which I don't know. Alright, I've had a few people on the channel, like, try to say I'm balding as an insult. Like, I don't fucking see it. Like, I don't have a straight across hairline because I don't get fucking shape-ups. Because, you know, you get a shape-up and, like, in 2 hours it looks like you're wearing a fucking hairnet. Like, I don't get shape-ups. Maybe I'm not fucking hood enough for fucking shape-ups, but I've never done shape-ups. But I don't know. I've had people try to say I'm balding that are pissed off by my videos, and I just don't see it. Balding, sloping forehead, dyed black, like, not dyed like color, dyed like you fucking dropped dead. Dyed black, which I guess, you know, like, this isn't I'm Asian, but this ain't my natural hair color, guys. I'm actually, like, a natural blonde Asian that dyed it black for whatever fucking reason. Dyed black and straightened hair, because I guess, you know, Asians have naturally curly hair. Glasses, here's my favorite line. Glasses that belong on your ugly face. Like, how is glasses that belong on your face an insult? Like, that's a compliment. Like, these glasses, you know, Warby Parker, like, nice frames, they belong on my face. I don't know, that reminds me of, like, I think it was a Homer Simpson line. Actually, this has bothered me before, because I tried to find this exact quote, and I'm 99% sure it's a Homer Simpson quote, but I can't fucking find it, where he's talking about somebody, he's like, thinks he's so good with his pants that fit, or it was something, like, about his underwear elastic, maybe, like, with his elastic that's not ripped up. It was something to that effect, but I can't remember or find the exact fucking quote, and this actually bothered me for years, and this insult with your glasses that belong on your face, it reminded me of that. I spent hours trying to find that quote once again. If any of you guys remember that quote, please help me out with that, because this will solve a many years long issue with your fucking pants that fit. Yeah, like that's like fucking Four Eyes. Like Four Eyes would have been a better insult, because at least I mean, that's kind of a stupid insult too if you think about it, if you unpack it, because wouldn't having four eyes be advantageous? Like, it doesn't really, that's another shitty insult. Clerk, wait, oh, Tyranny, is that from Clerks the animated series? That makes so much fucking sense now, because I love that fucking series. There's only like 6 episodes and it's so fucking good, but it's, you know, like, if that's where the fucking quote's from, that makes so much fucking sense. Yeah, curly, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Asian. It's like that. Maybe that's why I have, maybe that's why ESPN is confusing us for Confederate generals, because Asians are secretly, naturally blonde-haired and blue-eyed. It's a fucking conspiracy. And yeah, I don't get. All right, I might as well go into this cultural appropriation now. I see Orbital SP is bringing that up as well. Oh man, you know what's pissing me off? I just fucking. Oh, never mind. I was looking at it wrong. I thought I had the chat not working, but I was just paused the video on the stream. Got a little disoriented. But yeah, like what bothers me the most about cultural appropriation, it kind of, to me, it ties into why I think, white nationalism is stupid. Why I think any kind of pride in like something like cultural pride, ethnic pride, national pride, I think all that stuff is kind of silly. Because to me, like, pride is something that you have in a thing that you work to achieve. Like, I'm proud that I'm making a stream right now and there's people who are actually interested in talking to me. Like, that's something to be proud about. That's something I put in work for. I achieved. I'm proud that my band has gotten to play really good shows. We made nice videos. Played Gramercy a few weeks ago. That's something to be proud about. That's a personal achievement. But then when you get into these mindsets where it's like, oh, this is ours. We did this. You can't have dreadlocks because we created this. You can't have these handshakes because our people made these handshakes. Well, what the fuck is we? Where the fuck did this we come from? Where the fuck did this our people? Like, when you say we, you're not included. Like, you didn't invent these fucking things. And then you'll see, like, the white nationalists, like, our culture, like, we created all these fucking things. Like, by and large, like, you didn't make shit. Oh, like, we discovered electricity. Well, you didn't discover electricity. Benjamin Franklin, the individual, Thomas Jefferson harnessed it, Tesla harnessed it. These individuals who happen to have similar features to you, they accomplished these things. You didn't accomplish shit. The chopped cheese thing. Oh, they're taking our sandwich away. Like, you didn't make the fucking chopped cheese. In my chopped cheese video, I'm talking about this. Like, you didn't invent that sandwich. It's not your fucking recipe. It's like probably invented by like some like Middle Eastern dude. That's whoever made that thing. That's his creation. Like, the fact that you're taking pride for the thing that he created, that just, to me, demonstrates how little accomplishments that you have in your own fucking life. I saw that too and this one was actually funny to me. It was like a video about nutcrackers or like whatever the fuck that drink is, where you can get like a frozen one in the fucking hood and it's like, a ton of alcohol mixed up with like icy shit. And you get them, and then like white people discovered it. They're Columbusing, they discovered it. And people are like, oh, this is our thing. And meanwhile, in the same video that people are getting so butthurt, there's like this Chinese bartender who like actually made the recipe for it, and he doesn't give a shit. What up, Jesse? What up, Dominic? Oh, see, here's where you're wrong, though. Like, chopped cheese is very different from a Philly cheesesteak. And, like, and once again, it's like one of those destination foods that I'm like, kind of like, people take a little too much pride in it. Like, it's a good sandwich, but it's not like the be-all, end-all of food. But the thing about a Philly cheesesteak is, when you get it with the Cheese Whiz and, like, chopped up real fucking good, the cheese has a way of like seeping into the whole thing, and the flavor is very distinct from a chopped cheese. Like, almost like the chopped cheeses that I've had, they almost to me like taste like a real good sloppy Joe. There's actually there's this venue in Brooklyn, St. Vitus. And they have this one deli across the street, the God Bless Deli. Their chopped cheese is so fucking sick, and they'll give you the fucking halal hot sauce on it. Like, that shit is fucking bomb. And everyone who goes to that venue, like, they just know that that's the fucking place. There's actually a place across the street from Gold Sounds, I think, too, that makes a pretty good chopped cheese. But, you know, it's like, to return to the thing, you know, cultural pride and things like that, and cultural appropriation, like, because it's kind of like nested on this thing that my ancestors made this, so now it's mine. That to me, like, just doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. And yeah, cultural. Let me see what Chloe's saying here. One thing when something copies you and tags you as the person with good taste, and someone copies you, makes millions, just thinks you should be honored to just be copied. And I think it depends. Like, once again, like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you personally, like, create a thing, and people will do this thing where that is kind of shitty, where they'll take something that's been around for fucking ever and acts like they invented it. If they act like they fucking invented it themselves, like, this is my thing that I made, you know, forgetting that it's been around for fucking ever, that's shitty. Like, that's not even, like, I mean, yeah, I guess you could call it cultural appropriation, but that's, like, outright fucking theft. Like, that's like if someone were to take my fucking content and, like, be like, oh, here, like, maybe not take my exact content, but, like, say, they took my Alex Chu video and, like, plagiarized it. That's what that is. Wait, what? I just learned some new shit. Tranquil Blue. I just realized that you can get chopped cheese in North Dakota, but they shove a piece of ham in it and call it a grinder for no damn reason. A piece of ham. Like, is there beef in this too? Because that's kind of, like, the chopped cheese is kind of like, it's contingent on the beef, but if you throw some ham in there, that might be pretty interesting. Like, it's actually, like, it's one of those, I realize that's, like, one of my fucking, visual patterns. I say it's one of those things. What's one of those things? That makes no fucking sense. What's one of those things? Here's the thing. I mean, I gotta get that out of my system. Oh, good. There's ground beef in that too. But people also have this thing of wanting to keep, like, nothing should ever evolve, and I think that's also tied to this idea that, you know, we have to preserve cultures, that people, like, they don't want anything to ever evolve in any kind of way, that everything is just perfect the way it is, and no one should ever, you know, fuse things, no one should ever develop things. Like, a good example of that is the sushi burrito, which honestly I haven't fucking had, but people were just so outraged about it on principle, or grinding up blazing hot flaming hot Cheetos, wherever they are. I fucking love flaming hot Cheetos, and I can definitely see why it's kind of become more of a trend to put that in shit. Although I'm hearing that in Texas they've done that forever. Isn't IP theft a completely... it's definitely a different thing, but it's kind of in the same family of it, and it's... I think it relates in the sense that it's different if someone is, like, kind of taking your thing and acting like it's theirs. But yeah, like Chloe's saying, like, there are some native groups whose families own a specific pattern and the whole family needs to agree to sell the pattern. That's intellectual property. Although, honestly, copyright law gets a little funny. I think originally copyright law was kind of set so something would, the copyright would kind of dissolve after a set amount of years, and then it would go into the public domain and anybody could do anything with it. And a lot of old songs, a lot of old movies, books, they're in the public domain like that. Patterns, I guess, they're in the public domain and they had to have that done with it. But there's been a trend towards, like, making that period longer and longer and longer. And it doesn't really help people like those natives that Chloe's talking about. It's basically something that's been enriching companies like Disney or whatnot. Like, you'll never have a public domain Disney movie, no matter how old it fucking gets, because they'll have ways of just extending that and preventing that from happening. It's kind of a shitty thing, too, in my opinion. I think there should be more ways to kind of take those old things, repurpose them, without really having it be a problem. Although honestly, now we just had H3H3's fair use lawsuit, which to me was a big, really big. Let me go to Facebook. I'm getting Facebook messages. I forgot I had that open. But that was actually a really big one, H3H3's thing for fair use, because if you're not familiar with that, basically what he had done is, or what they had done, they made a lot of reaction videos to different things, and one guy got super butthurt, Matt Haas, he got super butthurt that they used his, so he filed a lawsuit against them. YouTube took the video down, and even though, you know, it falls under fair use, YouTube isn't like a legal arbitrage or anything like that, so they have to respect the legal claims, let it take its course, and it might be a very costly lawsuit over the course of a few years. Now H3H3 finally won that lawsuit, so hopefully in the future that deters people from misusing fair use laws in that way, because honestly the purpose of these laws, fair use, it's copyright law. It kind of exists, so like say you made this one thing, I can't copy that and offer it as a replacement for your thing. But a commentary video that legitimately adds criticism or whatever, that's not a replacement for the original product. That is something that exists completely else. And there's some companies that a lot of them have lined up. Nintendo, oh god, Nintendo's thing is fucking stupid actually. Nintendo will kind of like put a copyright claim on your thing, and they want you to join this program where you get a certain amount of things from using their content. You get a certain amount of money from using their content after a long amount of time. I actually, when I did a Mario World playthrough and it got claimed and that kind of thing, and I didn't get a strike off of it, but it was completely unmonetized. Not that it was a lot of money. But I guess gaming things are that's like a little bit of a different story too, because that at that point it's kind of like a broadcast. People actually will I think there's a lot of people who would rather watch, or who will watch a game be played through in its entirety and then never play it because of that. I kind of back in the day did that with Forbidden Siren. I watched my dude play the whole fucking game, and then I was about to play it and I was kind of like, oh, I saw all this. So I guess that's a bit justified. But let me go back to the intellectual property. Those native patterns aren't really considered to be intellectual property issues. I heard of a native designer that saw her grandmother's patterns being sold by a white guy, and the guy just justified selling it on his clothes because they didn't think that all native patterns could be owned by anyone, or the natives didn't have the concept of intellectual property, or that all native patterns were generic. You see, like that's fucked in a way. It's weird that because alright, it doesn't like it really it might not be considered to be an intellectual property issue, but that's exactly what that is. Like, say if someone creates a pattern, it's their property, and they could say, oh well, Native Americans don't have a concept of intellectual property, but I mean that's patently false. That's actually, I guess that's relating to the myth that Native Americans had no concept of land ownership, which that is, if you look into that, that's total fucking bullshit. They had all their nations set up with borders and whatnot. Different tribes own different plots of land. That is like some kind of like stupid noble savage myth. But yeah, if the grandmother made the pattern, whether or not she even filed a copyright for it, that's her intellectual property. So that guy who copied it, he should be sued, and I believe he can be sued for that. So that goes beyond just like the vague concept of cultural appropriation. That's literally theft. That's intellectual property theft. Now, if he had made his own version of what he believed to be a generic pattern that resembles that, people would say that's cultural appropriation, but it's kind of, that goes into that murkier gray area, I think. Yo, Michael Swinney, I totally could go for some fucking Taco Bell. Oh yeah, Mr. Shadow, you're right, a lot of YouTubers won't cover Nintendo products because of that. Who the fuck was it I just saw? I think it was Mr. Repzion or something like that. He got a fucking 1-cent check from Nintendo over something like that. Meanwhile, like, this is like, I think he might be like pulling up on like, he has a very large audience, but somehow his Nintendo content made him 1 cent. Like, at that point, it's just like, it's... Why even give him the 1 cent? It's just a fucking insult at that point. But yeah, Fox. I remember, alright, when Kim Jong-il died, there was a, and this is back, once again, when a lot of these companies were stricter on intellectual property. I believe I have used a Simpsons clip on my channel before without problem, in context. But back then, it was when Kim Jong-il died, and I had cut, if you remember, they were all the North Koreans, like, throwing them on the steps in front of Kim Jong-il's statue, crying. Like, the whole nation came out and made a big show of crying over Kim Jong-il. And then I'd cut that footage in with the episode, probably the saddest episode of anything on TV, with the episode of Futurama, where Fry's dog waits for him and then dies eventually. That literally one of the saddest scenes, and I cut that montage in with the North Koreans all like getting together and crying, and within like seconds, Fox had that shit pulled, and my old channel had a bunch of copyright strikes because of it. It was fucking wild. And then the same thing happened on Facebook. Like, it was just, Fox was super hardcore about locking down anything that might resemble infringing on their property, no matter how much it was really fair use. You know, no one's going to watch my video, my fucking meme video of Kim Jong-il dying and people crying and Fry's dog. No one's going to watch that instead of watching that episode of Futurama. Shout out to Kim Jong-il for dying. Oh, yeah, China does not give a fuck about intellectual property. Like, China is... Anything you can get online that's fucking fake is probably from China. We all know this. Although, I came across something the other day. I'm very into streetwear. You know, sneakers, just like nice graphics and whatnot. But apparently, the streetwear black market for like very high quality reps, like South Korea has like a massive market for like fake Supreme, all that shit. So, you know, maybe maybe South Korea is kind of you know, they're taking a bit away from China in the fake shit regard. Fox actually doesn't care about fan art, I've learned, but Nintendo and Disney will ask. Really? I think I've vaguely heard about this. It's so stupid that companies will go after fans who like decide to make like, oh, I really like this Nintendo game, so I'm going to draw a picture to show my appreciation. Or Disney. I didn't even know about Disney because I feel like I see so much Disney fan art out there, but I don't get that. Like, once again, going back to the idea that these laws exist to prevent people from making a bootleg replacement of it, like with the fake streetwear. Obviously, that's an intellectual property violation if you make a fake Supreme hoodie. But if someone draws a picture, like they really like Mickey Mouse, so they draw some Mickey Mouse fan art, no one is going to look at that drawing instead of, you know, buying an official piece of Mickey Mouse art. They're not going to look at that drawing instead of watching a Mickey Mouse cartoon. It's just, they're attacking their most hardcore fans for no reason. It's the dumbest, most self-defeating thing. It portrays an absolute misunderstanding of how the internet works, of how fandom works. Like, how can you be a company that is so reliant on fandom, yet have practices that show such fucking disdain for the people who keep your fucking company afloat? Oh yeah, Supreme is based on IP theft. Like, I was never like that big of a Supreme or a Bape guy. To be honest, like those brands, I do like some Supreme things, but a lot of them, they kind of like feel like really expensive clothes that make you look like you're in high school. Not that big on it. And Zootopia, I really don't know that much about Zootopia. I've heard of it, but I'm not really sure what it is. And actually, yeah, Disney, and the irony of fucking Disney being so hardcore about intellectual property is that The Lion King, I'm sure a lot of you guys know this, The Lion King is totally a fucking copy of Kimba the White Lion, an anime by, shit, I forgot who made, Kimba the White Lion, but basically, like, the story, the way I heard it was, The Lion King was originally supposed to be an adaptation of Kimba. They lost the rights, or they never secured the rights to actually make an adaptation of it. So they wound up just, like, changing everything a little bit, so it's technically not fucking IP theft. I think, and a lot of people do think that it really is just they made a bootleg Kimba the White Lion. Like, there's, like, so many things that are the same, like Mufasa appearing in the clouds, Kimba's friends, the general story arc. And yeah, they are adapted fairy tales, all of them. The, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, I believe The Little Mermaid, Aladdin. But the difference is, I guess, like, those are things that are very clearly in the public domain, like I was talking about, because so much time. Like, those are, like, we're talking, like, centuries-old stories. Kimba the White Lion isn't a centuries-old story. It's an anime that was made in the 90s. In the 60s, I believe. So that was, by the time The Lion King was made, that was definitely still a fresh intellectual property. Like, that, it was owned by somebody. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of things that come out of folklore, and those are just very, like, universal stories. They get retold in a lot of different ways. I don't think there's any problem with that, although what I will say is I think, and this is actually, like, something that obviously, like, people who've created their own mythologies, like H.P. Lovecraft, have kind of wrestled with. And I wouldn't be surprised now if someone came around and told me that all the shit he made up was actually based in something else that's even older. But I feel like, too, like, going back to those old mythologies too much, it kind of, like, it keeps you in a box where it's hard to, like, fathom other things. Like, George Romero, R.I.P., he took the concept of the zombie and popularized what we think of as the modern zombie. Before it was kind of like, we didn't really have these slow-walking, flesh-eating, and then, whatchamacallit, fucking Return of the Living Dead comes along and then they're brain-eating. Like, that concept of a zombie that became, like, an archetype. Like, that's kind of like a modern new archetype as far as I know. Even though, the concept of a zombie, it existed way, way back, but it was a fundamentally different creature. Really, I didn't know that about Lovecraft, that he left his stuff in the public domain. That's pretty cool. Definitely, it gives a lot of room for people to build on his thing. I guess to make, like, licensed fan fiction and that sort of thing. And then there's not that many good H.P. Lovecraft movies either, surprisingly. I guess because a lot of them would need a big budget. Like, the only H.P. Lovecraft adaptation I can think of that was successful, an actual good movie, is Reanimator. Like, Reanimator, I guess, is the classic H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. Yeah, Psycho Bean. You kind of, you nailed it with the cavemen. Like, it's one of those things where generations and generations ago, like, it's not even really worth it to get too hung up on being original, because anything you've thought of has been thought of before, so, just kind of do you, like, find your own way to put your own spin on it, but, like, you're never gonna be 100% original. Like, there's a caveman who thought of whatever the fuck you thought of before. Oh, From Beyond and In the Mouth of Madness. Actually, I'm gonna reveal myself as a shitty horror fan. I haven't seen either of those fucking movies, but I am aware of them. There's actually a lot of movies that I'm realizing that I should have seen. Actually, somebody on Twitter yesterday, they showed me this scene from Fritz the Cat that at first I thought it might have been, like, overdubbed, because the dialogue was so, it was so modern and relevant to the current social situation, Fritz the Cat, that it could have been written today. It was so weird. It was basically the scene he showed me was, and what made me think of this, I also haven't seen Fritz the Cat, which I really should have, but the scene is, like, you have this, like, these three, like, white chicks that are, like, trying to impress this black dude over how much they love white culture and how much better black guys are, and it's, like, he's cringing at this, I guess you would call it virtue signaling. Like, it's very disingenuous. I think one of the girls says something like, I never knew you people were so civilized. They're, like, in their pursuit of fighting racism, they're being unbelievably racist themselves. Like, there's this thing that I saw today, even. I retweeted it and talked about it a little bit. Which, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, that's Hot Pikachu Sex, as you can see on there. And Instagram and fucking Snapchat. There was two people having an argument. The names were blocked out. Well, not even an argument. One person was saying about how, like, she feels so much pressure to, like, be better in life. And it's kind of getting to her. And the response was that perfectionism is a symptom of... perfectionism is caused by white supremacy or something like that. Let me actually just look it up. Because it was so wildly... it was stupid and, like, in that way where everything has to somehow relate to white supremacy. But at the same time, it's also really, really offensive to other ethnicities. And that happens a lot, where people in their quest to be more accepting, you know, to coddle other races from their own, wind up being insulting. What this girl said, perfectionism is a symptom of white supremacy. Analyze it and be gentle with yourself while you reprogram. Like, you are enough. While you reprogram. Like, what? I mean, first off, and I was actually talking to a guy who's a teacher after I had posted this. It's real. There's this thing people do where they act like pushing yourself to work harder, to be a good student. They're acting like, you're acting white. Like, that's such a fucking fucked up thing to say to anybody. And for that girl, a white girl, to say like, oh, this is a symptom of white supremacy. Like, what? Perfectionism? Like, first off, have you ever met a fucking Asian in your life? Like, there is no culture in the world that does perfectionism. Like, this thing where it's like, if I do it exactly right, I'm the worst fucking person in the fucking world. Like, that is the most Asian thing possible. But see, like, this is white supremacy, as if to imply that, you know, black people or Latinos, like, they shouldn't strive to be better, to be the best that they can be in life. And, like, you're just... you know, never try to be better because you're just good enough just because. That's fucking bullshit. I think everybody should fucking work to be, like, the best version of themselves that they can possibly be, regardless of race. I don't think that this is, like, a white fucking thing. I think it's incredibly insulting, incredibly racist to think that that's a fucking white thing. But that's the kind of... and people will shit on the concept of horseshoe theory, but this girl, as, like, a social justice war, she said this thing that could just as easily have been said by a white nationalist. That yes, perfectionism, the striving to be the best you can be is a white thing. Like, this is horseshoe theory. This is like when the two extremes become indistinguishable, practically indistinguishable. Indistinguishable. You can tell I'm running out of steam when I'm making mistakes like that. But that's what that's what horseshoe theory is. And when people make fun of people using that concept, you can kind of point to these kinds of examples and say, well, no, this is a real fucking thing. This is a dangerous fucking thing. Because, like, never in the name of fucking trying to save somebody, you know, trying to be a fucking savior, the white savior, I guess, never should you be saying these kinds of things that are meant to build people up but actually take them down. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's implying that working hard is a white thing, and that could not be further from the fucking truth. Everybody around the fucking world has fucking worked hard in some way. Anyone who's ever fucking accomplished anything, and people of all different ethnicities have accomplished amazing fucking things, regardless of culture or whatnot. That hard work is as universal a virtue as you can fucking find across cultures, I believe. Oh yeah, your perfection isn't someone else's perfection. That's also true. I was actually kind of having this, I don't even want to get into it because it's too fucking, I don't want to go into the private conversations I have with people too much, but it was kind of like, I was kind of like saying how, like, I'm not perfect, and like, they were taking that as me being like, self-deprecating. And it's like, no, that's like realistic. Like, perfection is a good thing to aim for, but you'll never really achieve it. It's just kind of like you always want to aim for a higher than you realistically expect to reach, because 9 times out of 10 you fall short of your goal. Short of your goals. You fall short of your goals, but you know, if you aim for the unachievable, you'll often wind up achieving something that's like still fucking amazing. Anyway, guys, though, I feel like my fucking I'm talking too much. My throat is starting to give up. I don't know how these people who like they straighten for like hours and hours and hours on their own. Like, I don't know how people do it. I guess if I do wind up doing the Google Hangout podcast, I can sustain more time because it gives me a fucking break to drink some water. Maybe that's the problem. I haven't drank any fucking water. But yeah, horseshoe theory. As much as people will make memes about horseshoe theory and centrists being... Actually, now I gotta go into this fucking centrist thing because I've been seeing more and more the idea of a centrist being used as a fucking insult. Like, if you aren't on the far left or the far right ends of the horseshoe, that you're like a milquetoast, like indecisive person. And that's not necessarily true because centrism, it's not that you don't have an opinion about things. It's that you don't necessarily subscribe to all of the ideas of one side or something like that. Like, it's weird to me that say that a person is against abortion, whatever, that it's also understood then that they're necessarily going to be like pro-gun, lower taxes, that all of these necessarily unrelated beliefs come in one clean package. Like, me personally, I am, pro-choice. I'm for, like, light gun control. I think we should still have guns, but I don't think, I should be able to go to Walmart with no identification, no psychological background or anything like that. Just be like, yeah, give me a gun with my fucking bag of fucking potatoes. Yeah, sure. There's different levels of it. And it's funny, too, people will react to a video on one topic and just automatically assume because you have one idea that you are the extreme that encompasses all of these things. Like, I had one video where I've had a few videos that had people calling me a social justice warrior, and other ones like the fucking handshake video I talked about before, calling me a white supremacist or a fucking Nazi apologist or shit like that. And the backlash against like centrists or moderates or people who just aren't all-encompassing on one side has become insane, where everything has to be a fucking us versus them paradigm. Is that the right word for it? Us versus them paradigm. It's there's my 10-cent word for the fucking day. I don't know. I'm glad to see like a lot of you guys like being like, yeah, like this is, it's crazy, like these things, these extremes resembling each other. It is a real fucking thing. What up, CMC the rapper? Yeah, I am glad to see that you guys are like with me in that in some regard, because I feel like more and more people are kind of pushing each other to this thing where they want to force somebody to be like, either you're an extreme on this side or extreme on that side. And there is some limit where, like, yeah, like Psycho Beat, everything in moderation, too much will do it. But, like, there is some limit where, people are, like, they kind of don't want to take a side. They want to try to make everybody happy and, like, not have too much of an opinion one way or another, where I think that's where people get some of their perception of, like, how centrism is like, a bad thing. But that's not everybody. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like a bunch of averages you can take, where one person will have, like one very far right position, but then thinks something on the far left as well. Like, socialized medicine, that's another one where, like, I think, surprisingly, I think a lot of alt-right guys are like, I think a lot of them believe in socialized medicine, so that would kind of, in some regards, pull them into that, like, centrism kind of field, even though they're clearly not centrists. Oh yeah, fucking CMC the rapper, I was talking about the McGregor fight earlier, like, I mean, I'm assuming this guy is, you think that McGregor has a good chance. I do not. Shut up, you shut up, motherfucker. CMC the rapper. Oh my god. That's funny. If people come to your streams and they'll watch a person talk and they're like, shut up. Yeah, McGregor's gonna get his fucking ass beat. Either he gets his ass beat, there's like some kind of a fluke, or it's a fucking fix. But I don't know. I think, like I said, I'm a bear yours in the minute. You fucking idiot. Yeah, that fight, it is going to be a funny fucking fight. I don't even know how long I think it's going to last. I think Derek was saying that that he thinks it's going to go 6 rounds. I don't know. Here's the thing too, like, why I was saying I don't really like to watch that much boxing. Because like it kind of like a lot of these dudes just kind of go for points. Like Mayweather is another dude like GSP I was talking about who like he goes for points, and he obviously it's worked out very well for him. He's undefeated, but will he finish the fight? I think if it goes long, it's because like Mayweather is just being too overly cautious. I really think this has Mayweather, like, I mean, he doesn't have to do shit. He's set for life, but I would like, and I think a lot of people watching would like to see him win by a fucking knockout. Just finish the actual fucking fight. None of this fucking playing around for points and shit. Yeah, I think Tranquil Blue, I think, like, the more I think about it now, the more I think how it's going to be. I don't know that McGregor's going to get knocked out. I think he might just lose by points. And it's going to be a really unsatisfying affair. But I don't care, because at that point, I'll probably be fucking drunk and full of fucking cheeseburgers. Like your channel of I sneeze. What? What are you talking about, guy? Oh, Charlie Crisp, that's what I was going to do. What is your honest opinion on autoerotic asphyxiation? You know what's funny about that? When I was on tour last week, I was working on a tour vlog, and our singer had, like, he said this kind of thing that, oh, did you know that when you drown to death, you come? And I was like, wait, what? And, like, we were all, like, sitting in the fucking van. Like, I was recording this. The video of it is somewhere. I made a finished tour vlog. These guys were like, they didn't want to post it, but then it wound up being like autoerotic asphyxiation, which I guess, and you don't come when you fucking drown to death first, though. That was just kind of him fucking with us. But I don't know. I guess it makes sense. I've never tried it, but I know like a lot of people enjoy getting choked and that lightheaded. So I assume it's that same sensation, only you're by yourself. So what are you gonna do? Yo, yeah. R.I.P. David Carradine. Wait, my guy be dead? Wait, what did I say, like, dead ass or something? It's weird, like, I talk like that naturally, but now, like, when it became a meme, I became, like, self-conscious of myself saying it, because I've been hearing so many people say it, like, use it, like, incorrectly. Takanawa. Oh, yeah, I just thought it was just, like, a scrambled, I didn't see the A's. I thought it was just like a scrambled version. What up, Takanawa? Oh, I said my guy. Yeah, it's funny. Like, that shit just like, I'm not the most, like, hood person in the fucking world, but, you live here your whole fucking life. That shit just, like, seeps into your fucking, your language. Like, I don't even notice it. Anything. Like, I travel anywhere, and people are like, wait, what the fuck did you just say? Or, like, the accent. Trisha Takanawa, there you go, that's what I'm thinking of. Hey, my guy. Oh, fucking, the water in the fucking toilet's overflowing, motherfucker. My stepdad, he's like a real fucking, like old school New York guy, so he says bathroom. The toilet's in the fucking bathroom. The water's fucking burling. Fucking bottle. A full live stream of the weigh. Is that going on right now, the fucking weigh-in? I don't know. I'm definitely, like, I'm running out of steam right now. Like I said, my throat's a little, like, kind of, like, fucked up from, like, talking so goddamn much. So I'm going to leave you guys to go. If you watch the fight tomorrow, enjoy the fucking fight. And thanks for fucking hanging out with me tonight. I'm probably going to go get lit somewhere. Take care, guys.